our candidate forum, and really looking forward to this today. First of all, we've our location sponsor, our host sponsor today is Hilton Garden Inn. So if you see anyone with Hilton Garden Inn, be sure to thank them for being a host sponsor today for us. I'd like to take a moment and recognize some special guests that are with us today. And when I announce your name, just raise your hand so we can recognize you. Michelle Keemont, Superintendent of Francis Tuttle. There she is. Kathy Reeser, Board Member, Francis Tuttle. There she is. Dan O'Neill, Edmond Mayor. I saw Dan. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Nick Massey, Edmond City Councilman. Josh Moore, Edmond City Councilman. Saw him earlier. Hey, Josh. Janet Yao, Executive Director of the Edmond Economic Development Authority. And Bryson Panis, Senator Inhofe's office. Hi, Bryson. And Matt Blueball, Stephanie Bice's office. Getting food. Okay. Chief, you ready to give us the invocation and the pledge?
Thanks, sir. If you would bow and pray with me. Heavenly Father, I'm so thankful to be here today. I'm thankful for this beautiful weather that you've given us following the cold and snow. Thankful to live in a city that has resources to help those in need. Father, I know that the blessings and grace you give Edmond aren't unique to us, and they're free to everyone. But you've given us people that have gratitude for the blessings and grace that you've given us, and for that I'm thankful. I'm thankful for the people that you have called to lead our city, both those in office and those seeking office. And I would just ask that you would give them wisdom, that you would give them comfort and peace as they pursue these leadership positions and to contribute to our community. I ask you to bless this food, nourishment of our bodies, and us to your service. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. If you would stand, we'll pledge. Salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated.
Sir. Evan, come introduce some new members we have.
My name is Evan Comer. I'm the chairman of the Ambassador Council for the Edmond Chamber. We have a few ambassadors here as well today. But it's my responsibility for each one of these meetings to introduce any of our new members that we have in attendance. Today we have a few, so if you guys wouldn't mind, just hold my hand up and be recognized. Foster and Homes, Linda Ellis, and 401 Kids Incorporated Foundation, Clint Thompson. Thank you, guys.
Our presenting sponsor today is AT&T, and Ray is going to be Jan's proxy.
Yes, I am. Well, Chief, pardon me, but how in Sam hell are you people? I haven't seen you in over a year, except those of you that come around my office to keep me awake during the week. Most of our staff is working at home, but I brought my own notes, the ones that Jan gave me. Now, she told me, she said that you should just do a commercial for Edmond Life and Leisure. I said, what are we? Because I didn't think. And Sherry was send me a bill. And she said, well, tell all those candidates to advertise in your newspaper. And I said, that's kind of like asking for a bribe. So she goes, no, it's not. It's a sign of intelligence. So I just want to say greetings to you all, and life is good. We're still in business, never missed a single issue. Wahoo! Yeah, our power of locally owned. Many of you in this room, Casey, are responsible for that, so blame him. All the good advertisers that supported us and supported local journalism. So I will put in a plug for that. Local journalism is a lot better than national journalism right now, so a lot more alive. So thank you all very much. I will say I have a new knee, and I won't show you my scar later if you're interested. I also had both my shots, and I called my son, who's he's in federal law enforcement. I can't say what, except that his service is a secret. And I said, if we get the shot, are you guys putting a tracking device? And he said, no. I go, well, why wouldn't you? It's a good opportunity to track us all. He goes, no, you don't get it. Here's how we track it. Which brings me to 18. You wonder where I was going. AT&T has been a great corporate citizen, and I'm just going to tell you, in this community, and they're not very good about bragging about what they do. But I'm just going to tell you, they are a great corporate citizen. They donate and are involved in just about every charity in town. They support and help guide our legislative agenda here at the chamber, and will help us with any lobbying needs we have or influential needs we have. They provide support for our schools, including safety, no texting and driving. And most of all, they give us Jan, who, if you didn't know, you would think this was, as much as we see Jan, this is her only community. It is not. She has 22 other markets that she's responsible for. Back in the day, the newspaper guy would see the AT&T rep come through several times a month, because they had one rep for Edmond, and one rep for Shawnee, they had one rep. They've done away with all that, so we don't get to see at our office Jan as much as we'd like, but her presence is here, and she's involved in all the right things and has supported the chamber. So a special thank you to AT&T for sponsoring. And we appreciate all their support of our community being a good corporate citizen. And I'll close this. Oh, I didn't turn off my phone. I will close it. No, that's good. And Jan's work. Here's what she says. She says, if you are an AT&T customer, she thanks you. If you're not an AT&T customer, she can help you.
Will's here. Yes. Come here. Are you with AT&T?
I am not with AT&T. I do not have a new need. Is there anybody with the city of Edmond here? I got to celebrate that I never lost power. On the other hand, I just bought a motor generator and I was so excited to use it. Thanks for not the power. So I'm with Tinker Better Credit Union, and we're happy to be the world sponsor. We're happy to be here. I do need to introduce Sheila Jones. She is the chair of our board of directors, and her husband Don. We are very thankful to be here to help sponsor this event. I'm glad that it's live, at least partially. Everybody out there in the Zoom land, or however we're doing that video. We're glad to be here. We've got locations both on Bryant, and we also have another one over on Kelly. And if you go about a mile from our Kelly location, we now have a partnership that we formed with Prime Bank, and we can now do commercial operations out of that. So we have 3 locations in Edmond. We're happy to be here, happy to serve, and we're glad to be part of this luncheon. And I was told that I had less than 2 minutes, and the agenda said that I talked at 12, but the next thing actually starts at 12. So that's all I said.
Well, I want to introduce Kenneth, and Kenneth's going to handle our mayoral and candidate forum. And so take it away, Kenneth. You on?
So I guess first we can start with all the candidates heading their direction up to set at their place. You want to go ahead and come up, all candidates. Quickly, not a lot of rules, other than the rule is don't follow the time. Sherry will have the time. She'll hold it up, give you the, when you need to stop. When you have 30 seconds left, she'll count down for you. So watch Sherry for that. Also, this is a forum, not a debate, so you can't debate the next person. You just get to answer your question as proposed. Everyone will get a 2-minute opening statement, followed by individual questions, and you'll each have 1 minute to answer that question. Any questions?
So will we speak from here or do you want
Speak from there.
Okay.
We'll start opening remarks, 2 minutes each. We'll do this in alphabetical order. We'll start Ward 3. Miss Janice, you're first.
Janice, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so, let's see, how about that right for a second? So I am a candidate for Ward 3. I was born and raised in Edmond, Oklahoma. I love this town. I went to high school here, graduated in 1985, met my husband, married him in 1986. We have 4 children that went to Edmond Memorial High School and graduated. I've been real involved with the chamber in the last few years, went to Leadership Edmond, got to learn how our city works and built a business here, literally from dirt up a few years ago. So I got to have the pleasure to go to the city council and get all of my zoning approved and plans, and got to meet the inspectors personally and got to just go through that whole ordeal. So I just really love what Edmond has been for me in the last 53 years, and I just want to be a part of the future growth of Edmond and have a little bit of say in how things progress.
Thank you very much. We'll go Miss Mudd.
You have 15 minutes.
Yeah,
will you tell me when I've got 30 seconds left?
Yeah, I've got signs, don't you worry.
Hi, my name is Kristen Mudd. There is sort of a delay thing happening there. All right, sorry. I'm also running for city council for Ward 3. I grew up in Oklahoma City, and when I graduated from Hub and City North High School, I went to OU and got a letters degree, a good liberal arts undergrad, and then went to work for Southwestern Bell Telephone, the predecessor to AT&T. So I wanted to give a special thank you to AT&T. When I was there, they paid for my MBA at OU. And after that, I decided I did want to go to law school after all, and went to law school at OCU School of Law. I graduated in 98. In 98 was when I decided to make Edmond my home. I knew I wanted to have a family. My mom and dad had already moved to Edmond, relocated while I was in college and getting my education. My sister, her husband, 2 young girls were in Edmond. I knew this is where I wanted to make my home, where I wanted to grow my family. I worked downtown Oklahoma City at a couple law firms for 7 years, and in 2005 decided to make Edmond the home for my business as well. So I started my own law firm practice, just me, and I grew steadily. Purchased a commercial building in Crispin Park on 33rd Street, if you know where that's located, in 2008, and served most of that time on the owner's board of that complex and learned a lot about the requirements in Edmond for commercial buildings. And then into 2018, sold the building. We outgrew that space, and now Mug Winston is located in Hafer Plaza at 10th and Bryant, backing up to beautiful Hafer Park. We are one of the proud finalists for last year's Edmond Chamber Small Business of the Year and employing 12 employees. I thought about running and serving in some more formal capacity for a long time, needed my personal and professional life in a space where I could do that. Youngest graduated from high school last spring. Law firm, I'm only working 4 days a week, and with Daryl running for mayor, it was time for me to step up. I appreciate your time today and hope to earn your vote.
Thank you very much. In the Ward 4, we'll go Miss Peterson first.
Hello. We're learning. Hello, my name is Stacy Peterson. We moved here in 1973, so I've lived here most of my life, grown up here, Graduated from Edmond Memorial High School and later got my bachelor's in science and nursing from UCO. My husband, Ed Peterson, we've been married almost 33 years. We have 2 beautiful daughters, an amazing son-in-law who's a Marine veteran, and 2 amazing grandchildren. My mother moved in with us several years ago. She had dementia and had to move in with us to go to heaven, so I took a hiatus with my nursing. I kept my license active, but I needed to stay home with my mother. And when she did go to heaven, my husband said, why don't you just take this time and play with the grandchildren, which I absolutely took advantage of. When I did that, I decided to get involved in the city, and the best place to get involved is the chamber. Immediately became an ambassador, Small Business Owners Alliance Club, Edmond locally owned, Government Council Committee. I got to sit on the legislative agenda for 2021, which was fantastic. I am a graduate of the leadership program, which was amazing, best class ever. Anyway, I was approached 2 years ago about this position. I immediately wanted to do this, but said I needed to pray about this. It's not of God, it's just not going to happen. It took me about a year to decide that this is where God wanted me. So I immediately stepped up and started getting more involved, and here I am today. I just want to keep Edmond a great place to live and grow your family.
Thank you very much. Mr. Miller.
Is it working? My name is David Miller. Some of you may know me, some of you don't. I served on city council for right at 11 years. From 2001 to 2012. I want to thank the chamber, all you people for being here. This is great. I love to do things like this. And hopefully this will work out well for all of us. I've been married to my wife, Marcia, that a lot of you know, for 37 years. We have 3 beautiful daughters. All of them have graduated college. They're all married. They live here in Edmond. And that's why I ran for office the first time, because I wanted Edmond to be the place where they would stay and raise their families. Apparently that's happening, because now I've got 3 great grandsons. I started in 1990, I moved here in 95, immediately became involved with Nice Columbus at St. John Baptist Catholic Church in leadership positions there. Like I said, in 2001, I ran for city council. Unfortunately, I took a bad decision, went to Louisiana, stayed there for about 9 months and came back. And ever since then, I've been on the CIP committee and just kind of sit back, waiting for the right opportunity to come back in and serve the city. And I think this is the right opportunity for me. I can't say anything other than I just want to be able to keep Edmond, keep the excellence moving forward. We have the best community there is. Trust me, I lived in it for years. There's several people around here that have. There's nothing like it, and we need to keep it that way. And I appreciate your votes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Moving on to the mayoral candidates. We'll start with Mr. Davis.
All righty. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Gerald Davis. I'm not originally from Oklahoma, from Ohio. Went to high school there, went to college in Atlanta, Georgia. Some of you might have heard of this college, Morehouse College. Graduated, moved on up. I cannot see the timer, so what if I do this? So you can see that. Moved out here to Edmond as my first job out of college. My real, not in Oklahoma, but real job out here. And as got married. I just recently retired, 35 years at the King Air Force Base. That's what brought me out here. But I was going to go back to Ohio, and my wife said, no, she's from Oklahoma, we're going to stay here. So we raised 3 children. We had to decide where we're going to live, right? Well, Edmond was that place we decided to move to. We were raised by the community, raised by the school system. And guess what? I have 3 children in 3 parts of the state, 3 parts of the country that are doing well. I have 2 principals and a dentist. So I know a lot about Edmond schools and how they help generate. I've been on a lot of committees, the park board, I've been on the city council for the past 9 years. And this town has continued to grow on me to where I want to continue to enhance it. If you remember, if you don't work here, when you drive back into Edmond, you see the sign, a great place to grow. I want to keep that place a great place to grow. I want other families to move here and grow their families, just like my family was given an opportunity over 30-something years ago. to move here, grow here, and develop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Now, Mr. Walters.
All right, I'm Nathan Walters, and I want to thank the chamber as well for allowing us to have this event. This is fantastic. I also was not born and raised in Edmond. I was born and raised in Mustang, Oklahoma, to a entrepreneur father that gave me the entrepreneurial spirit as well. So I moved up to Edmond to go to college. I went to UCO, and I instantly fell in love with Edmond when I came to UCO. And then what kept me in Edmond is that I fell in love with a woman who was from Edmond. And so here I am, 14 years later, raising a family, started a business, and we are rooted in Edmond. We have the same feelings as everybody else. Edmond's done such a great job with the feeling of safety, with the feeling of a place that you can raise your family and feel safe at. And we absolutely love it. I have such a passion for what has been done in Edmond, which has been done so well, but even trying to take it to that next level. Really allowing Edmond to be a place that even more families want to move into, more businesses want to come to Edmond to start a business because they know that this is the place to be. And I have such a passion for that, and I always have it. I've always kind of pushed that passion down, and my wife knows that. When this opportunity kind of presented itself, I decided that I would jump on that. I am a local home builder here, so I have a feeling that listening to constituents is going to be the same as listening to my clients. They are telling me their dreams, they're telling me their hopes, and we have to find a way to make that work. And I feel like that translates very well. Thank you again.
Thank you very much. Question number one will be asked to everyone. We'll start with Ward 4, then 3 to Mayor, but we'll flip-flop who gets to go first. Question 1, Ward 4, Mr. Miller. In this city, we have had ongoing improvements to our infrastructure, including staggered rate increases for water in order to reach federal mandates, future smart meters to help with consumption monitoring. We've had great infrastructure compared to other cities. So elected, what would you do differently? Compare and contrast this to what is currently being done.
Kind of a loaded question. To be honest with you, I mean, it's real easy to say I wouldn't do anything differently, but back up, I mean, we just went through a major ice storm. We know we had no water issues, we had no sewer issues, we had no electrical issues. So we're doing the right thing. The money that we're spending to modernize our systems, to keep them up to date, and to expand them is the right thing to do. We're doing $350 to $400 million worth of expansion for our water and wastewater treatment plants. That also includes the infrastructure to get all that interconnected, replace stuff that was built back in the 70s. Back in the 70s, it's 50 years old. All that stuff needs to be replaced. So no, I wouldn't do anything differently except maybe try to accelerate the process. I think we've got to get ahead of the east side of I-35 before we start having people not want to do something there because the infrastructure is not there. We can put it there.
Thank you, Mrs. Peterson. Reminder 1 minute. Response.
1 minute.
Yeah, I agree with David. I think what's being done is important. There was a lot of infrastructure that needed to be updated. Like you said, it's been 50 years. The city has also grown exponentially. So we have to keep up with that and for the potential growth that's coming. It's important to have our city ready for both businesses and residents to move into it. And working on the east side of I-35, I think it's important to get those things zoned correctly and get that infrastructure in place prior to the growth of this city.
Thank you very much. Ward 3, start with Ms. Mugg.
Okay, I actually didn't realize the question was going to be the same.
The question will be for everyone. I can repeat it quickly. In this city, we've had ongoing improvements to our infrastructure, including staggered rate increases for water in order to reach federal mandates, future smart meters to help with consumption monitoring. We have great infrastructure compared to other cities. If elected, what would you do differently? Compare and contrast this to what is currently being done.
Thank you. I appreciate you repeating it. I wouldn't do anything differently, but more and expand on the programs that we have in place. The smart meter system is in its infancy. It's just in a couple of neighborhoods, as I understand it, in beta testing, but it shows that when we know on a real-time basis what we're using with respect to water and electricity, we're gonna reduce that consumption. So that's gonna be good for consumers and residents, it's gonna be good for the city. So I'd like to see that expanded, the intelligent traffic system also. It's further along, phase 3 is in the strategic plan for 2021. I wanna see that implemented and hopefully more employees who can also man the ITS system and get the best benefits out of that we possibly can. But I do think it's a great example of how we fared through this last week's storms compared to other communities. And I'm really proud of the fact that I too never lost electricity or busted pipe or water or any of those things.
Thank you. Ms. James?
Okay, so I have never been on city council, so I don't have all those answers for you, but I do believe that our previous city council members have done a fantastic job in keeping Edmond a great place to live, that they've done a really good job in keeping our infrastructure up to date. It costs money, it costs a lot of money to do that, and I'm not super knowledgeable about the smart meters. I've had a few people sending me information on them. I'm not sure what I think about those yet. I really need to do a little bit more research into that. I don't know that I would do anything differently at this point without some more research and just learning a little bit more about how everything is done in our city.
Thank you very much. Moving on to Mayor, Mr. Davis, same question.
I don't want to jinx us. Because, yes, we haven't lost power. We've made investments over, I've been on council for the past 9 years, we made those investments. So I don't want to sit up here and say too much because I don't want to jinx us, all right? But we have done some things. So what I want to see in the future is keep working on our infrastructure that we have in this town. You've heard it before, we're going to the east side of I-35, so from an infrastructure perspective, what do we need to do over there? How do we need to do soil analysis to make sure that the pipes that we're putting in there are going to have a longer service line? We already in Edmond, we put our electricity under the ground, so that helps us out. Let's keep doing that and keep communicating to our community. One of the things I've noticed, especially on this campaign here, is that we have all these different ways to communicate to the community. And we just need to keep expanding that on all the things that we're doing. And let's look at other communities, what they are doing and what they aren't doing, to maybe get some ideas for future improvements.
Thank you very much. Mr. Walters?
I would have to second the fact that obviously we've done something very well. As we went through the ice storm and as we went through those freezing temperatures, we've done such a great job. But I look at the infrastructure the same way I look at my business or running any business. You constantly have to reinvest. That's number one. You have to reinvest in your businesses, which means we have to reinvest in our infrastructure. Just like Mr. Miller said, we have stuff that's 50 years old. That's something we have to take care of, or we could have a problem. And then when you're looking at growth, when we're talking about getting out east of I-35, it can't just be, oh, we need to get infrastructure out there. We need to have a plan of what we want east of I-35 to look like. Where do we want commercial? Where do we want residential? Where do we want these things? And you have to have a plan to be able to take the correct infrastructure across. I do not want to waste our money of just bringing infrastructure across and then people are buying up land along the way and then we don't have the correct infrastructure. We have to plan it out just like we do in business.
Thank you very much. Next question will be for mayoral candidates only. We'll start with Mr. Walters. In your chamber questionnaire, you stated that the city hasn't planned for growth in East Edmond properly. However, the city did approve the 2018 Edmond plan, which included detailed block by block projections and preferred zoning, including all areas of either east of I-35 and west of I-35. It established an East Edmond 2050 study that's currently underway and spent hundreds of millions of dollars on planning and infrastructure to handle future growth. What are you proposing to add or change to the current zoning, but also taking current landowners' rights into consideration?
We obviously have owners' rights, I understand that. I wouldn't say we haven't done it properly. I think what I mean more is it's been a little more slow. I understand the 2050 plan, but I'm out in East Edmond all the time. The worry I have about the 2050 plan is it may be done in 2050. East Edmond, it is, people are continuing to move out there. They're moving at a rapid pace. We can, just like you said, owners' rights. The further along we go, the more people are buying the land, the more that once they own it, they get to do as they please with it. We're now having, and then from there, we're kind of stuck. And we're in kind of the same way that happened in West Edmond, where the growth happened so rapidly. It just happened, we went from 30 to 90,000 people, and it kind of got us where we're playing catch up. I want to think through some more of the things that we can communicate with the people that own the land. How do we zone this properly and quicker to make sure that it grows in the way that our citizens want it to grow and the way that we can keep up with it?
Thank you very much, Mr. Davis. You served for several years on the city council and have helped form the current zoning plan for East Edmond. What would you do as mayor to improve that plan?
Well, as mayor, one thing is to keep the plan going, not to stop it. Keep the evolution of the plan, keep the communication. Because one thing that I've noticed on being on council is that we, as a community, you cannot stay stagnant. You have to always be evolving. You always have to be finding opportunities for change. One of the things that helped this community during our pandemic was that some of the flexible things that we put in place based on communication with business owners and the community, that the city we put in place that help businesses survive and help the citizens survive. So as mayor, I want to continue to put those flexibilities in our places, in our ordinances, in the way we do business every day. If we're not flexible, if something catastrophic happens, then possibly the process is going to slow us down.
Thank you very much. Question number 2 to all city council candidates. All city council candidates, we'll start with Ms. Janice. The question is, as you know, sales tax is the primary source of revenues for cities in Oklahoma. Please give us specifics on what type of things you would do or create to generate additional sales tax revenue. That is for Ms. Janice.
Am I on? So I'm on. So I believe that we need to continue to bring businesses in. We need small businesses, little mom and pop places. We need medium businesses, and we need big businesses. I don't think we need to be super big businesses. I don't ever want us to become a Michigan where all of our, income, all the people work for one company and then they go out and then we have a crisis. So the backbone of our company was built on small businesses, and I think we can do a better job at getting small businesses in with different types of incentives. We give big businesses a lot of incentives, but we don't really give small businesses incentives to come here, or we don't give small businesses that want to grow incentives like we do some of the big ones. So that would be something that I would like to focus on.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mugg.
Thank you. Again, we do have to bring new business, and sales tax dollars need to be spent in our community. This is a big question for 60 seconds, but I do think the TIF district in downtown Edmond will attract new business. I think it's a good investment. The EEDA's incentive program also draws in new business, and it's focused specifically on underdeveloped, potentially blighted areas that are not being developed. So it helps with the beautification of our city, helps bring in new business, new people to work there, new people to spend money. I would like to see some very limited, thoughtful development at Lake Arcadia, potentially a restaurant, small things. Again, I say very limited because I don't want it to affect the beauty of that area. And as we improve some of the amenities there for people to come and bike and hike, and let's have them spend some money there as well and keep some of our Edmond money here as well, keep residents there. Again, the 2050 plan, it's not just about houses out there. There'll be some commercial development that will bring in new business too.
Thank you very much. Same question, Ms. Peters.
I would absolutely support the incentive policy program that we have going on. It is, it supports both for the sales tax coming in and also for retail and also for non-retail to bring in jobs for the community. I think that's super important. I really love our downtown district. I continue to support small businesses to come in there. Our chamber is an excellent way that supports our businesses in this community, get them involved, get them to know other business owners and see what's worked for them and what hasn't. Sales tax is a big part of our revenue, and if we keep up our community with different businesses. I think that's going to be really helpful in the future. And
Thank you very much, Mr. Miller. Some question.
I've always said that sales tax is the fuel that drives the engine that's in it. And anybody that knows me has heard me say that a multitude of times. We had a 36% increase from 2019 through 2020 on commercial building applications. So we're going the right direction now. Even with what's been going on in 2020, we're still going in the right direction. I think we need to kind of put that into overdrive once we come out of all this and get it moving. We do have a plan. We've always had a plan for East Edmond. The thing about that is we're always revising it. We're revising it up. We're always doing that. And I don't think the 2050 plan will be done in 2050. And I think the deadline on that is the end of 2021. So hopefully they'll get that done. But the EED incentive plan, look at some of the things they've done, Gateway, Petra, Sprouts, they've done a lot of good things, and I think they need to keep that moving. I'd like to get involved with Janet, once I get back on the council, get back on her board, and enhance that program, get it moving, add some more to it. That's what I'd like to do. But, okay, I'm done.
Thank you very much. Question 3 will be asked to all candidates, everybody. So say it one time. The city has multiple boards, commissions, and committees to receive citizen input and leadership. As a city council man or woman or mayor, will you be responsible for serving, or you will be responsible for serving on these and also appointing citizens to serve on them. Which of these have you served on and how does it make you a good candidate? If you have not served on any of these, which ones are most important to you and which ones will you seek to be placed on as an elected official? We'll start with 3, Ms. Buck.
I've not had the pleasure of serving on any of the committees. I would be interested in diversity, equity, and inclusion. There is a joint effort with both the city of Edmond and the chamber. That is something I would be passionate about. Planning commission would be a good gig, but actually I think I appoint someone to that one. With the appointments, I really want to focus on younger people, engaging some younger people who haven't traditionally had the opportunity to serve or known the ways in which they can serve. So I think, we do tend to have older folks serving in those capacities. I'd like to see some younger people with a diverse background serve on some of those committees. So I'd be intentional about seeking out people who I think would really be a great addition to serving on the committees.
Thank you very much. Ms. Janice, same question.
One of the committees that I would love to be a part of is the Parks and Recreation Committee. That is a huge, just a huge part of my heart. I grew up in a little neighborhood in Edmond called Meadow Lakes, and we've got a little park there that I spent lots and lots of time at as a child. And I feel very fortunate. I think I was one of the last of the free range kids that got to live in it. It's my generation. And we literally would leave home in the morning and did not come home until the streetlights came on. As a kid now, I don't know if anybody that would let their kids do that today, but man, I had a great childhood and it all revolved around meeting in the park. And I had lots and lots of friends of all ages, boys, girls. I don't even think that the boys in my neighborhood knew I was a girl until I was a teenager and started developing, because I did all the stuff that the guys did. I, rode motorcycles, rode bicycles, played basketball, played baseball, played football in the park. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful childhood. So parks are very important to me.
Same question, Mr. Miller.
We don't have enough time for me to list all the boards and commissions I've been on, but I'll start with you. Chairman of Public Works from 2002 to 2012. I was on the Public Transportation Committee, chairman of that. I was on the EDA board. I currently serve on the CIP. I was on the CIP Tax Advisory Commission. Served on the Edmond Senior Foundation Trust. There's some I'm forgetting, I know. Sandra Mackey started a program called Youth Council. I don't know what happened to it. I really don't. We need to get that back, because we get these high school kids, we show them what's going on with city government. You'd be surprised to look on their faces when they learn this stuff. I talked to a couple of young men today that I'm going to tell you right now, and no promises, because I can't promise anything for anybody else, but I would love to talk to you guys about being on committees when this is all done. because we need young people, male and female. I'd like to see more women come out. Usually they say, oh, my husband does stuff like that. No, 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 you need to do it, because we need your input. Thanks.
My heart lies with small business, and we're small business owners ourselves, and I would want to get on the Economic Development Committee. I've already expressed interest in this committee. I want to be a part of what's happening in Edmond and the growing in Edmond. I want to have a say in it, and I want to see what's going on. I also love the Parks and Recreation Committee. As I've been visiting with people, I've heard lots of constituents tell me all of the interest that they have in that they want to go into the parks, and it made me even more interested in this. I love how our parks are growing. I love that there's so many different things going on in the parks, walkways, places to eat, places to play with your grandkids. There's movies, outdoor settings for the arenas for the summer. There's so much going on in Edmond, and I want to be a part of that also, to continue to be a part of watching Edmond get even more beautiful.
Thank you very much. So the mayoral candidates, Mr. Davis, you're first.
Thank you very much. Well, very simple question for me. The number one committee I want to be on, the mayor of Edmond, Oklahoma, period. But to give you some of my experiences, before we had a lot of these committees, I was on the Tomorrow's Edmond Committee. That was something that was developed with Charles Lamb, was the Ward 3 and then mayor of Edmond. It was a program that helped implement a lot of the things that you're seeing today. I've also been on the CIP committee, EASI. I was on the Park and Recreational Committee for 15 years, 12 years as a chairperson for that. I've been on the Edmond Historic, I'm still on the Edmond Historic Preservation Committee, on the Public Works, being on City Council, and I've also been part of the Finance Committee. One thing to understand about all these committees that we have out here, the boards and commissions, it gives the citizens of our town an opportunity to be a part of the decision making. They go out and canvass the areas, they do a lot for us.
Thank you very much. Mr. Walters.
Since I've been in Edmond, I've either been a student or a small business owner, so I have not been on any of the committees as well, but running for mayor it is definitely something that I'm fighting for the most as well, that I love. Obviously, with being a small business owner, anything with the economic development is something that I would enjoy, just making sure that small businesses can thrive here, making sure that we don't always have to incentivize businesses to come here. Maybe we can help build a town and bet on ourselves in a way that small businesses want to come here, they desire to come here. And that's what I really want to push for. I love the economic side of things. It means a bunch to me, and I would love to be able to do that. When it comes to appointing people, the study that has come out shows that our median age in Edmond has come down to 36 years old. So Edmond is getting younger. We are seeing that happen, and I do think younger people being on these committees and seeing where Edmond is going will be very helpful.
Thank you very much. Same question to everyone. Next question, and we're going to switch it up a little bit. You only have 10 seconds to answer the question. So you have a 10-second. We're going to start with Mr. Miller will be first to answer. Again, same question to everyone. To date, the city of Edmond has not been greatly affected by the loss of sales tax revenue. Should a downturn occur, what specific thing would you propose to cut first in the city's budget to solve this problem? 10 seconds.
Well, we had almost a 5% increase over 2019. So I would say that we should probably just slow down on some of the expansion we're doing and some of the programs. I wouldn't stop any of the roads projects or infrastructure projects.
Right, 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
That's tough. Gosh, I don't know. Again, slow down in the spending on, I know we need infrastructure, but maybe spread it out. Maybe we can find other ways to save money there.
Yes, no.
I would not make any cuts to infrastructure for sure. I think if we had to cut something, I guess it'd be more in the beautification area, which kills me.
Ms. Janice.
That is a difficult question because I don't know all the areas that are available to be cut. So I would have to say it would have to be something that would be, I don't know, maybe donuts at the chamber meeting. I don't know.
Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis.
Yes, I would look at how do we realign some of the services that we're providing today to have minimal, least impact to the city. Number one, we're gonna keep our safety, our fire, and our first responders going on. But what else can we do to minimize that?
Okay, Mr. Walters.
I believe it's the same as in business. I don't think you go and you cut just one thing completely out. I think you have to look at them all and you take individually from each one.
Thank you very much. Another 10-second question. I'm just gonna flip it. If you have extra funds to the budget, what would be the first thing you propose to spend it on? Back to Mr. Miller. First answer. 10 seconds.
Wait, it's off. Don't start it.
I won't take 10 seconds. Roads. That's it. Roads, traffic infrastructure, that's it.
Ms.
Buy
Peterson.
an extra roads.
Again, a little bit everywhere, infrastructure. It's so important in the city.
Mrs. Bud.
One,
Yes, ma'am.
roads and parks and recreation amenities. Can you hear me? Good enough?
Mr. Davis. Oh, sorry, Skip, I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
It's all right, I'm gonna say, it would have to be, roads and maybe water, our water issues right now.
Now, Mr. Davis, sorry about that.
Enhanced traffic mobility, our infrastructure continue, and also our safety of our community.
Mr. Walters.
Definitely infrastructure and roads.
Okay. Question number 5, which will be the last question. We'll start with the mayoral candidate, Mr. Walters. The question same for everyone. This question.
Just 10 seconds also.
Yeah, we got a whole minute. That was just a fun. That was a fun. 1 minute, back to 1 minute. What makes you a better candidate than your opponent? Start with Mr. Walters.
Probably not gonna go there. I'm just gonna continue staying on what I want to do on my platform, which is keeping Edmond safe, continue to let our first responders, firefighters, police officers know that we have their back. Continue to look at how can we, as a city, bet on ourselves, how can we make businesses want to come here? How can we continue to fund our education systems, which makes individuals want to come and move here? And how can we as government give power back to the people?
Yeah, question. What makes you a better candidate than your opponent?
Well, the number one thing that's different between the two candidates is my experience. I've been involved with the city for over 25 years, worked on the city council for 9, being involved with the Parks and Recs for 15 years, and then being involved with a lot of the development that you've seen from crash to the present. And my plan is this: how do we continue that? How do we enhance that? How do we make it possible for us to grow smartly into the future so more families can move here, want to move here? Some businesses want to move here, and we can, in this region of the country, live as comfortably as we want to, as we've been doing for the past 2 years. How do we continue that growth? That's my plan.
Thank you very much. We'll move to Ward 4, Ms. Peterson first.
I think David and I are very similar in the way that we think. He's a great guy. I love Edmond. I love living here. I love raising my kids here and my grandchildren here. I just want to be a part of Edmond. I want to continue to be a part of watching it grow and be a wonderful place for other families to come and raise their children and have their children be raised here. I have a great passion for my city, and I just want to be a part of this.
Thank you very much. Move on to Miller. Mr. Miller, please.
Well, I'm a lot older than you. I don't know the makes any difference. I like Daryl, I've got a lot of experience. And I think we're moving into a time where we're gonna need experienced people in town, to be honest with you. We're gonna be coming out of a pandemic. We're gonna have all kinds of issues having to deal with that. Business as usual, most of you as business people know that business as usual has changed. We're gonna have to deal with that, so we'll take that on the city level. When I moved here in 95, there were 45,000 people here. There's well over 90 now. You realize that's 25 years that we've doubled. And that's gonna happen again. Yeah. As soon as we open that piece of I-35, really get infrastructure in there, and planning we need to get done over there, it's gonna happen. We need to be ready, and I'm ready.
All right, so question, Ms. James, so make sure you're a better candidate than your opponent.
Okay. I'm kind of gonna go with Nathan. I don't really think that's a very nice question. So I would want to just say that I would like to just bring some fresh eyes to city council. We have no women on city council right now. I would love to be that for city council. I would like to be very open and transparent. I'd like to be somebody that the city, not just my ward, but the whole city feels like that I'm approachable, that they can come up to me if they see me out at a restaurant, or if they see me walking around, and come up and just say, hey, I've got an idea, or I've got a question. Knocking on doors has been very eye-opening to what people are actually interested in Edmond. And it's not a lot about what you guys think. So I just really think that that is where, my heart is right now, is I want to be able to be a voice for the citizens of Edmond.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of taking the stand that we're not going to say anything negative about our opponent at all, but really just emphasize our strengths. And so by me emphasizing my strengths, I'm not saying they aren't also Cheryl's strengths. But I think the thing that I believe makes me a really good candidate is the fact that I love to learn. I will read, I will do the research, I will read the boring ordinances, I have a passion for learning, and I have a passion for people. I feel like I can connect with people well and make them feel at ease and comfortable approaching me. And I have the ability to explain some esoteric, complicated, dry stuff sometimes, because I do that in my day job in a way that people can understand. So I think the main thing though is I'm willing to dig in and do the work, and I've learned a ton. At this point, my plan is to hit the ground running and continue to learn. And there's so much to learn and so much, and I'm willing to dig in and do the hard work.
Thank you very much. Moving on to closing statements. Every candidate will get 2 minutes for their closing statement. We will start with Ms. Mother.
Delay issue. All right. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. It's been a while since we've been behind the mic, so to speak, pre-primary, and so appreciate this opportunity. Welcome to the Zoom people. It's recorded. Let's see if I want to watch it later. I want to be a link between Edmond residents and the resources in government information, right? Be accessible, be available. My neighbor Max said, will you call me back if I call you? Yes, I will. That's actually how I run a business. Surprisingly, you return people's calls and emails as best I can. If I get 500 in a day, I can't do that because that's happened. To make really, really well-informed, unbiased, well-researched decisions that are in the overall best interest of our community. I'm not going to always vote pro this, pro that, pro whatever. Honest and transparent, and do all I can to maintain the sense of, I think, community and unity that we have in the city of Edmond. Continue to be sort of a platform city for safety, worship, grow your business, grow your family, recreate, attract new people. And I appreciate you considering voting for me on April 6th. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Janice.
All right, well, I love Edmond. Like I said, I've been here forever, and I do want to be that connection to the people. And I am a hard worker. Anyone who knows, actually, Stacy's husband over there, he quit bringing as much material to jobs when I was helping him as he used to, because I'm like, we're not stopping until we're out of material. And so I just, I do like to have fun. I'm not all work and no play. I like to work really hard so then I can play hard. And I think that the city has a lot I think we have a lot to grow in our city. I think that, I think I'm good at talking to people and being able to have a discussion and agree to disagree on things. I don't hold grudges. I may not like something that someone says, but we can walk out of the building as friends later and agree that we're gonna just not be able to come to an agreement on something. I want to make this a place where I don't have any grandchildren yet, but someday maybe my kids will do that, I hope. If not, I just get to play with Stacy's. And I want to have a place where they want to be, where they want to come, where they want to, you know, say, hey, take me to this park because this was so fun, or hey, let's go out to the lake and let's go fishing. And it would be fun to have a little restaurant or some sort of a marina out there for the kids and the families to go to. I think that's a great idea. And I just really want to do what's right for Edmond. I want to keep Edmond, 30 seconds, okay. I just love Edmond, and I really want to learn about it. I know that getting in the very beginning will be a learning curve. As in any job that you take on for the first time, you don't know everything there is to know about it, but I'm more than willing to learn what there is to do on city council.
Mr. Miller, 2 seconds, 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Well, I don't have any agenda that's hit. It's pretty obvious. I mean, if anybody had watched me in the years I served on the council, they know that I'm pretty open. On my city council business cards was listed my personal email and my cell phone number. I was very reluctant to have my city number listed on there because I felt like it would just go to a switchboard that I never heard from. I spent 40 years in the customer service industry, and that's the way I look at it. I would be still in the customer service industry because the citizens of Edmond are our customers. We're on the city council. They're not paying us a lot, but they are paying us to be there. Anyway, I just want to. I can't leave here without thanking our health workers and the people that work in our hospitals. I have 2 nieces that are nurses as well. Both of them contracted COVID. They got over it, but they're still working in hospitals in North Texas. So I want to make sure that they understand that my thoughts are with them. I would really like to increase youthful and female involvement in our boards and commissions. I think that it's extremely important. It gives them the experience they need to move into the positions we're talking about today. So I would just ask them for participation and things like that. I would really push that. I really would. I mean, back when I was originally on the council, Sandra did that, Patrice did that, Charles did that. I would want to be that voice this time around. I really would. And I'm going to just repeat something I always say. The way I raised my daughters, and I am so proud of my daughters. And anybody that knows them knows that. I raised them with 3 tenets: faith, integrity, and family. And those are my tenets. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
I get an emotional.
You know I've said this so many times, and I say this to everybody every time I speak with them, but I really love my city. I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part of it growing. I want to support my city. When I first decided to do this, I thought, I'm a nurse. I'm not a politician. Well, sometimes we need to take some of the government out of our people. And I think that's a pro. And I was talking to my granddaughter the other day, and she said, "Gaga, why are you doing this?" And I said, "Honey, just like I've always told you, be a leader, not a follower." I've told her that so many times, and it's time that I step up and be a leader and support my city and help to watch it grow.
Thank you very much. We'll go Mr. Davis.
First of all, I'd like to thank the chamber for hosting this event. And I just want to recap this beautiful afternoon. What are my top priorities? I've been in this town for over 30 years. I cherish this community. I am, and I plan on continuing to be a common sense leader for everyone here. So my top priorities: improving our fundamental core services, including our streets, infrastructures, expanding transit opportunities, our police and fire protection. As we were sitting here today, just a few minutes ago, you heard Edmond Fire go down the street. they're going to help somebody in our community in their life. Supporting and partnering with Edmond Public Schools, enhancing the quality of life opportunities, continuing because those are going to keep regenerating themselves. Creating economic growth through partnership and economic development programs. Currently, we have a TIP program and our center programs. How do we keep maturing involved in those? Incorporating the diversity of our city into the decision-making of our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walters.
All right, Edmond Chamber, again, thank you for having us. I'm going to close with the same thing that Cheryl and Stacy talked about, is I absolutely love Edmond. I love Edmond, and it's how I ended up running with no political experience at all, which can sometimes be seen as a negative. But when you own a small business, you're having to think on your feet every day. You're wearing 17 hats every day. It's how you operate. I can learn quickly. It's move on your feet, and that's back to my point. I know the study's not going until 2050, but my worry is that at sometimes inside of government, we move at a pace that we will get behind the 8 ball. And that's not what I want to see. I want to see us get out in front of it. And I absolutely love the thought of being out in front of it. I also want to thank our first responders as well. That's one of the reasons that I ran as well, just letting them know that everybody up here feels the same way, but just continuing to let them know that we support them, that we believe in them, that we appreciate them. And then really the third fundamental that I ran on is I sometimes believe government across the board, locally, regionally, nationally, it's gotten big, it's gotten cumbersome. And I believe the number one role to government is that we are protecting the people's God-given rights using the Constitution. And that's one of the main reasons I ran, and I want to stand on that.
All right, thank you very much, candidates. Deep breath, it's over. No more questions. Thank you guys for staying on time, actually under time. Thank you guys very much for coming and participating. We're done. We're participating. I'm not gonna let everyone out. Jim's still gonna come up and do that. So thank you guys for coming. But I think, Jim, you're gonna dismiss us, right?
You bet. Kenneth, good moderator. I'm for you over Chris Wallace. 4 things. You got the annual report on your table. Take it with you. It's beautiful, except for one picture. But other than that, it's a really good annual report. You've got your legislative agenda on the table. It's a trifold thing. Take that and read it. On March 12th, we have Representatives Mike Osborne and Ryan Martinez speaking at the Government Relations Council. Get on our website and register for that. And on March 25th, we have our annual awards banquet, and that's coming up again. So wonderful time, and you can register for those things on www.edmondchamber.com. Hope you have a good rest of this warm, wonderful day. See you next time. Bye.